We're going to talk about the range-based for loop, and it's to prevent what I did in the last video where I had a for loop right here where I had a whole counter and then I had to use the index to get the value. You don't need to do all this to get the values in a for loop. It's actually called a range-based for loop, and we're going to go over that today. The range-based for loop is a loop, and it iterates once for each element in an array. Every time a loop iterates, it copies an element from the array to a built-in variable known as the range variable. It automatically knows the number of elements in an array, so you don't need to use a counter variable if you keep this in mind, versus what we had previously. Remember, we had to use int a is equal to 0. That was our starting counter variable. And then we set it less than 10, but this is a fixed number. If our array size modified or we wanted to use a different array, we would have to change that number. So that's super limiting. You don't need to worry about stepping outside the bounds of the array either, like you possibly would with this one. This one, it gets the actual length based on the indexes inside of here. So let's go over the general format or the syntax for it. Let's say that we have some array. Looks like this. We're going to then have a for loop. Inside of our for loop, the header part, we're going to have some variable. And this variable is going to be of the same type of our array so that we can store what we're currently looking at as we're going through our array. And then we are going to have a colon and then the array name itself. From here, inside of it, we can do whatever we want with the specific value that we're looking at. So it's going to look at the 0th index, then the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and so on if we have more. That's what this is printing right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Cout is printing our range variable. It's going to be each of these. And that's the basic syntax for how we would use a range-based for loop. It's really helpful when we're going through basic arrays. That's pretty much it for this one. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments below. And if you want more C++, check out that playlist below the like button. Okay, wait. So I'm editing this video and I just realized that you should also know the range-based for loop versus the regular for loop and when you should use it. Well, the range-based for loop, as you know, can be used in any situation where you need to traverse or step through the elements of an array, and you don't need to use the element subscripts or indexes. If you need to work with the element indexes specifically, you should use a regular loop. And that's the additional information I just wanted to throw at you. Okay, now I'm done.